We all know that COVID is airborne, right? We were told to stand 6 feet apart and that it's in the air, it's droplets, all of that true. COVID travels about 6 feet and then you're safe. Um, but let me tell you a little bit about COVID, a little bit about TB, a little bit about pneumonia, and a little bit about poop and what they all have in common. Hi, this is Karen Elizabeth Patton Jack's baby girl, and this is Karen's Inquisitive Corner. And you are going to want to share today's post. I'm only going to be here a few minutes, but what I have to say is really powerful. So, as I said, COVID is droplets and it's in the air. Um, we were told that you stand 6 feet apart. But in my studies, the CDC says that COVID can actually live further than 6 feet. Studies show that COVID can hang around in an atmosphere like 3 hours or even longer in atmospheres that are really, really crowded or unventilated. Something else I found out about COVID is that COVID can travel from room to room. But with COVID, I want you to remember that it is in the air, that it's droplets, just like TB. Now, we don't have a whole lot of cases of TB, very, very, very rare now, but TB is also in the air. Now, when I studied this and I looked at TB can also go from room to room, meaning that you can have droplets in this room and they travel. So they can go from room to room, just like COVID. Now, studies also say that between 3 and 6 feet with TB, you can catch it. But then on the flip side, the CDC says that it travels from room to room, which is going to be more than 3 to 6 feet. We all know that pneumonia is also a droplet. It travels in the air, but unlike COVID and unlike TB, pneumonia, you really have to be in a close range to catch it from somebody, probably about 3 feet with pneumonia. Now, pneumonia also does not travel room to room. So that's the difference. We have COVID, room to room, TB, room to room, pneumonia, no room to room. But all three of them are in the air. So you can just go in, smell it, and inhale it, and then you can possibly get it. Now, let's start from the beginning as we always do, okay? We talk about our guts. So it's 3 different organs in the body that makes up the gut. It's the stomach, it's the small talk about gut, it's all 3 of those, okay? Now, poop, when you flush poop in the commode, is something we all do and we all flush it. Did you know that little particles of the poop go in the air? Did you know that? I didn't know that. Who knew? So in the bathroom, there are particles, little mist, just like droplets, that's in the air that comes up from the toilet when you poop, especially if you leave the top up. Now, even with the top down, particles can still come out, but not as much if you leave the top up. So, do you leave the top up and flush, or do you close the top and flush? Which one do you do? Let me know. But I was so surprised. But listen to this. So when the poop, when you flush it, and the mist and the fecal is very tiny, tiny. Now you can't see it, just like you can't see COVID floating around. You can't see TB floating around. You can't see this fecal material, these fecal particles, this fecal mist floating around in the bathroom, but it's there. And not only is it there, but it lands on surfaces like in your tub or in your shower, on your sink. Now, a lot of us leave our toothbrushes out. I leave my toothbrush out. Well, I used to leave it out before I studied this yesterday. I will not be leaving it out anymore. It was funny this morning. I looked at my toothbrush and it was sitting out and I thought, I think I want to get another toothbrush. But the mist can also land on your toothbrush or anything that you may have sitting out. I used to sit my, if I'm in a hurry, I'll sit my makeup brushes out. Gonna be washing them today. So if you knew this, let me know. But if I'm telling you something that you didn't know, please let me know. So when you flush, be very mindful to make sure that you close the lid and that you cut the vent on. Now, a lot of times we will spray aerosols and disinfectant, but they do not kill the fecal mist. Now, what was it that we were using? I can't come to mind about COVID, but everybody was getting disinfected and we were spraying it. Remind me what that was. We were spraying it and it was supposed to be killing COVID. Well, even a disinfectant does not kill the fecal mist. Sprays only, give it a smell, but the fecal mist is still there. The only way for you to get rid of it is going to be to have a vent on so the mist can just go out in the vent. So now, I bet when you go in your bathroom and you look at your toothbrush or you look at that makeup brush that you left out, you're going to be thinking, I may need to wash this or I may need to get another toothbrush. In our large intestines, we have trillions and trillions of bacteria. And our large intestines break down what we eat. And as it breaks down and the bacteria in our intestines, that's what causes the smell when we poop. And when we pass gas, those gases are coming from that bacteria in our large intestines. Because as the large intestines breaks down the food, it causes gases to come up. It's about I think it's about 4 different type of gases that come up while they're breaking it down. And sometimes, of course, that gas has to come out. And it's going to come out when we pass gas and when we burp. That is letting that gas out that is accumulating in our large intestines. Now, some of you all, as we get older, there are certain things that we used to could eat because our large intestines used to break it down real good. But now, as we get older, we can't eat it. Some of it may be milk. Some of it may be cabbage, broccoli, red meat, fried meat. And those are some of the things, eggs, dietary. Those are some of the things that make it really, really hard for us to digest it in our large intestines. Just a few. There are other things, but it's just a few. And sometimes, of course, people are actually born lactose intolerant and so forth. But that means that it's really hard for our large intestines to break down. So now we know that poop is a mist in the air. Okay. Now, it may not last very, very long, but it's still there. And I couldn't find if it died on surfaces. Now I know that COVID would live on a surface for a certain amount of time. You want to make sure your surfaces in your bathroom really, really good. And actually, anything that you have sitting out in your bathroom, you want to make sure that you clean it really, really good. And so you think about towels, you think about washcloths. Now, when I was growing up, we would have one washcloth and you washed every part of your body with it. You didn't get a different washcloth for your face. Well, so now I actually use a different washcloth. I use a white washcloth when I wash my face. I don't know if it's helping, but I use a white washcloth, and I use another one to wash my body. But if you think about it, if the mist of the fecal material is in the air and it lands on things, that means it's going to land on your towels, land on your washcloths that we usually leave out in the bathroom. Just to give you something to think about. Now, I really hope that you all learned something today. I definitely did. And when I found out about it, I was like, I have got to tell my people this, because I bet they did not know. So this is something I want to leave with you all today. The lesson from today is that sometimes we cannot flush life's poop away. Sometimes we think that it's gone. Sometimes we think that we're good, just to find out that it's still hanging around, that is still lingering in our minds and the sphere, in different things that we do. Now, to get rid of that, we need to open a window. We need to open a door and let it go. My brother, Pastor Ray, said the other Sunday, God always gives us an escape. We always have an escape to go to. He opens a door. He has a friend. You can say no. There's always an escape. So when you are faced with life's poop, you look for that escape to get rid of it. And then when it goes through that door, when it goes through that window, lock it so it can't come back in. And sometimes with life's poop, we have to use a vent. We have to let it come in one ear and go out the other. Zaylin. And when it goes out, don't go look for it. Let it go. Say bye. I'll see you later. Sometimes we have to cut on the vent so it can just slurp it up and it's gone forever. Okay? And in different situations, different levels of the situation. You know, when you think about a situation, any type of situation, we all have situations. If you don't have it, keep living, because you will. We have bad situations. We have good situations. We have indifferent situations. But if you think about it, every situation has like a part 1, a part 2, a part 3, a part 4. It has the beginning, it has the middle, and then it has an end. Okay, so that whole cycle, sometimes with life's poop, we have to use the ventilator and just let it go. Cut the vent on, whatever it may be, and let it go. When you get to that last part and it's over, let it be over. It was yesterday. It was last year. It was last month. Just let it go. And every time it comes up in your mind, or every time that you're faced with it, cut that vent back on. You may close it because you don't need it right now, but open the vent again. You don't go and keep your vent on in your bathroom all day, 24 hours, 365, but you cut it on and off when you need it. Cut this vent on and off when you need it. Now, sometimes, and the last thing, sometimes poop just builds up. It just builds up, and it just builds up. And when it builds up, usually we become constipated. Sometimes we can become constipated in life because situations poopy situations, we just let build up. And they build up and they build up. And we keep getting more constipated because we keep holding on to it. We don't want to go to the bathroom. We keep holding on to it. We don't want to let it go. And we don't want to take a laxative to help us let it go. So we let that poop, we let that life's poop keep building up and building up and building up. But at some point, you're going to have to take a laxative. You're going to have to take an enema. You're going to have to take something to release that poop so you can feel better, so you can continue to live. Do you know that there's different situations, with poop that could kill you? Like sometimes the smell of poop is because of an infection, or it's because that your large intestines is not breaking it down like it's supposed to be. It's not always just the smell coming from the waste that we have, coming from our large intestines breaking that food up. Sometimes it is a physical condition, and we can make ourselves sick holding on to that and becoming constipated in things that happen to us in life. So take a minute and think to yourself, have there been situations in your life that you held on to? Are there people in your life that you held on to where you have just become constipated in it? It just keeps building up and building up. Your stomach hurts, your head hurts, you can't eat, you feel like throwing up, you're burping a lot, you have indigestion, all of that just building up. I have, and I'm sure at some point in your life you have too. Now, if you have it and you can't relate to what I'm saying, remember this, one day you will be able to relate to it. Take that laxative, whatever the laxative is, going to the altar, praying to your higher power, letting it go. Behavior modification. Every time you think about it, think about something else. Every time you remember something, think about something else. Talk to yourself. Karen, I'm not going to do that today, devil. I'm not being bothered with you today. I am tired and I am not going to deal with your mess today. Trust me, he will flee. Now, he'll probably come back, but he will definitely flee. I love you, and I hope y'all learned something today. This is Karen Elizabeth Patton Jack's baby girl with Karen's Inquisitive Corner. Bye-bye.